Yep, greetings, I'm back again. So I have to respond to this and respond to a recent message I received from what is your name? 2gstyle02. 2gstyle02, who sent me another message in reply to my comments on the Umar thing. So, number one, I wasn't high as a Georgia pine then, and I'm not right now. Number two, yes, I admitted in that first video that I became overwhelmed with feeling and thoughts that sort of flooded my mind as I thought about talking about what happened and what it was like for me when I attempt to share with brothers in the conscious community towards building, and not just brothers, yet it was focused on the brother. What I've experienced over and over again has been this, now I'm rambling a bit, because I'm a bit overwhelmed with feelings, mixed feelings related to your message here to me. So that first video, I admit that I became again overwhelmed and probably began to ramble a bit and jump from point to point. That's not a result of being high. That's a result of the traumatic stress and the stressful nature of our work towards building and linking with each other. It's very stressful, at least for me, because of the many issues that we face collectively as a result of the amount of harm that we have experienced, not only at the hands of the European, but also at the hands and minds of each other. So that happens. So that's the second thing I wanted to acknowledge. Third, you know, it's just so interesting to me in terms of this whole thing about healthy and effective communication and what I work to encourage us to do, to think about, and to support, is when we talk with each other that we be mindful of the words that we choose. So, for example, your brother starts off telling me what I don't want. Sister, you don't want to heal. It's like, because I'm still talking about what I allowed, and that's where we start to get really tricky here. What I allowed to happen to me because I'm content with being the victim. And it's so sad to hear and see us still using these memes on each other, and especially in light of, and it is really interesting to me that people who listen to and support Umar, who is a psychologist and who understands you know, the psychology of the mind and behaviors and so forth, that apparently people are not hearing, if he's teaching or talking about it, that thing. You know, maybe he's not, he's teaching what he's teaching, and my thing is, in terms of teaching, is about how we communicate with each other. And so that's where my focus is. And when you go and start off a sentence with telling somebody what they are doing or are not doing, what they want or what they do not want, as if you know them better than they know themselves. It's really ugly, it's really hurtful, and it's a big turnoff. So, but the thing about trauma and traumatic stress, especially when you're dealing with traumatic stress of the human intentional type, that is, someone is a perpetrator and someone has been harmed or victimized. When it's that type of traumatic stress, the witnesses, the bystanders, take sides. They take sides with either the perpetrator or either the victim. And that only happens when people have been harmed via someone else's intent, human intent. See, when the harm is unintentional, it was an accident, people rush to the aid of the victim. And they seek to possibly assist the perpetrator. But if it was an accident, then you don't hold the perpetrator accountable per se, because it was an accident. And you rush to help the victim and the perpetrator. When the harm is from acts of nature, you rush to the aid of the victim. However, when the harm is human intentional, as in a rape, emotional abuse, emotional neglect, hostage, whatever, then people begin to look at and assess the role of the victim first, as opposed to the role of the perpetrator, and then we can kind of have this great debate about who was at fault, always ignoring that the perpetrator always has a choice as well. Just like the woman has a choice to walk out in the street half naked at midnight, the perpetrator has a choice about whether to take advantage of that situation or not. And that is what happens, and that's what I hear you saying, and that's what I hear you doing. I allowed myself to experience the brother's abrasive, abusive style that he had at that time. I don't know if he's still like that or what ways he has grown and changed, and I know that that's possible, and I hope with all my heart that that's the case. However, I'm speaking from my experience in terms of what happened. And healing from trauma or traumatic stress requires people to remember and tell the truth about terrible events. However, people really don't seem to understand, don't appreciate, and most certainly don't want to do that. Well, and it makes sense to me that we wouldn't, because truth is the first casualty of war. And we as the African descendants understand that we are in war. We are at a war for our very survival as a people. And truth is the first casualty of war. So whenever someone speaks the truth about anything, it's going to be attacked. And that's what I experience from you right now, 2gstyle02, whoever you are. And then you finish with, and that's the last thing I'm going to comment on. He finishes with, quit playing and don't cuss so motherfucking. Oh, it's okay for you to cuss so motherfucking much, but it's unladylike. What is a lady? I'm not no lady. I'm a woman of African descent. I'm a warrior woman. Fuck that lady shit. That's for white people. How about that? Oh, excuse my French. That's not ladylike. I'm not supposed to use profane language. That is reserved for men. Is that what you're saying to me? Because that's what I think I hear you saying. I could be incorrect, but that's what I think I hear you saying. So you could clarify that if you choose to, which I suspect that you are not likely to. It's okay for you to make all these comments to me behind the scenes. I noticed that, because you could very well have responded to the video as well. Put your comments out there in the open. I will monitor them and probably won't allow certain things anymore on my page like I used to. I used to allow people to make the comments that they're going to make and let it post, no matter what they said and how they said it. And I've had people say, oh, I don't do that. I monitor my stuff. People are not going to dump their stuff on my page like that. My thing was, well, you say what you want to say. It's documented for the world to see, and so what? I've grown a bit, and I've gotten to the point where I'm not interested in allowing myself to be victimized, so that's why I begin to monitor the comments on that first video. I've thought about taking the video down, yet I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it there. So what? It's a moment in my life. It's a moment in time. And scorn, yeah, there's some scorn. I got burnt by the brother, but not just by Brother Umar. It was just so happens that it was Brother Umar I was talking about that particular day and that experience. So scorn as a black woman, yeah, there's a lot of it. And I know that I'm not the only one who feels it as a woman of African descent in this societal system that we are in. So I'm pretty much done with any conversations with you about this, and because it's clear to me that it is your intent to hurt me as much as you can, to minimize, to marginalize whatever it is that I'm saying or doing, how I'm saying or doing it. You're comfortable with staying stuck on that first video and you're not interested per se in hearing really anything else that I'm saying, thinking, or feeling. And of course, that, you know, that's okay with me. That's what it is. It is what it is, and that's okay. So, you know, to that end, I'm really done with it. And for me, I have begun to move on from the whole Umar situation for myself. Having posted that initial video 3 months ago, having listened to the comments, having responded to some, and having continued to work through my thoughts and feelings with the whole situation, I am moved and moving to resolution with it at this point, really. And I don't intend to make any more videos or commentary about this at this point. And I have a thought, but I'm not going to put that out there. I'm just going to wait and see what happens. But that's kind of where I'm at with it at this point. So thanks 2gstyle02 or whatever, because in part, you know, your stuff, your shit, you know, is really helping me move on. And it's providing more validation for me as to what is needed in our collective, African collective. It supports that, and I will continue to work hard to, as you put it, how'd you put it, share, teach what there's nothing stopping me from spreading my wisdom. So I'm going to continue to work to spread my wisdom related to trauma, traumatic stress, what it is, how it works, signs, symptoms, and solutions. And I will continue to work this program, practicing what I preach and teach. Peace.